The subject in this video is about, the whole word nice. Is nice really a fruit of the Spirit? Is it something God wants us to be? And, you know, it's it's hard to really differentiate the being kind versus being nice. I mean, a lot of people would think that, they have to be nice. And I'm not saying that, we're not to be nice, but really the question is it a facade? Is it a mask that we put on? And, the mask is really hiding the true feelings of what we feel. Possibly when our boundaries are getting walked on by people, and we feel forced into being manipulated by some people, and if we're not, then we're not nice. So I've been told in the past that hey, I was a nice guy and all that, but you know I would hope that my walk with Christ you know would show through love, and then the people of the world would look at me and say that I was nice, you know, and really, I don't want that word to be labeled on me. I'm not saying that, I don't want people to think, hey, I'm a good guy. I don't want them to think that I'm not. But, I don't want to be labeled as a nice guy without, you know, that kindness coming, through my actions. I want to help people. I want to give to the poor and things like that. And I want to be, known as if I was kind. And, maybe the world would look at me and say, hey, he's nice and stuff like that. But I don't ever want to be labeled nice without anybody ever seeing, the fruit of it. Not just, hey, be well fed, be warm, and, do nothing to care about the person's needs. So, really, the title of this video is called Kind versus Nice. And if you look up nice in the definition in Google, it says pleasant, agreeable, satisfactory, and then the second definition of that was fine or subtle. And, you know, really, if we really sit down and think about, the differences of each of the words, being nice does seem like it's a mask that hides behind it real feelings. I mean, what if somebody treats you with injustice, you know, and inside, you want to lash out at that injustice, but you don't want to come off rude or anything like that, so you keep it to yourself and you put a smile on your face, but inside you want to, really thrash out. Or, you know, I'm going to get to some examples soon, but, I hope you know where I'm really trying to get at. Just because someone seems nice doesn't mean that it's genuine. I mean, it could be a pasted on smile. But when you start pushing against the flesh of somebody, then their real feelings are going to come out. You know, when I was a teenager, I worked with this handyman, and maybe he thought of me as a nice kid and all that. But it seems like the people of the world, there are a lot of people that would take advantage of somebody's niceness and walk all over them, or that treat them horribly, or whatever it may be. But anyways, I worked with this handyman, and I guess he couldn't do things like he used to, and of course I was tall. I think I was like 6'2" or 6'3" at that time. And so I think I was, I guess, drilling in, like the hanger hooks. I was drilling them into the wall. And apparently I was doing something wrong, and he was like yelling at me in my ear. And, you know, of course I didn't know Christ at that time. But even if I did know Christ, I don't think I would be able to put up with that. Somebody screaming in my ear, you know, because really it's degrading, it seems. And, it's not respectful as a human being. You know, each of us deserves the respect that, we should be given because we're God's creation. But, just how he was doing it, I can honestly feel the anger rising. And that without understanding. I mean, if I would have took the time and understood his situation, maybe he couldn't do things like he used to. So it would be understandable that he would be screaming. I'm not saying that him screaming in my ear was right, but it's understandable. And we as Christians, when we spend time with God, he helps us to see, just more than that knot hole that we're accustomed to. If we allow God, he can lift us up to where we can see the big picture of somebody's life. But, so, being nice doesn't mean that it's genuine. Like I said, it could be a pasted on smile, it could be a mask that could eventually fall off. And you're going to see the real person under pressure. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul said that he doesn't say that nice is love. He says that the word kind is love. And looking up the Greek definition of it, it is pronounced, I'm not good at Greek pronunciation, but from what I read, it's krast you ahi, and it means to show oneself useful, that is to act benevolently. So, like I said, nice could be like a pasted on smile, it could be like a mask that people put on. But inside, through their actions, it's possible that they're not kind. Maybe they're irritable. Maybe they are envious or whatever it may be. But they're just putting a mask on that's going to eventually fall off under pressure. Now, it may be that, the person is nice and maybe God has used them, to help other people. And so you're seeing, their niceness, that you're labeling them that. And they're actually kind because they've been tested, through the fires of affliction, and they've learned how to love. So maybe you're seeing that. But it really takes pressure, really showing who the person really is. Like I said, kind has been tested through hardship. Love has worked its way through the heart of a person. Now, maybe someone is kind and people can see that person is nice, but we're not commanded to be nice. We're not commanded to put a mask on and hide our true intent. Now, I'm not saying for us to be rude, because if we're going to be rude, then we're not working through true love. And, I've seen a lot of rudeness in a lot of people. And, maybe they come off nice, but then you see how they really are, with people. I recall an old college roommate, and he, I guess somebody could label me as a nice guy then. But like I said, there's a lot of people that would take advantage of a nice person. And so this old roommate of mine, he's one of those people that, you know, they would treat you rudely. They would degrade you in front of other people. They would talk down to you. You know, they would look at you as if they were stronger than you. And whatever it might be, I encountered, that person. And I recall going to his house one time, and I don't know if it was to spend the night or whatever it was, but he would like talk down to me, and his mother saw that, and she corrected him on that. And whatever the reason why he did that, I don't know if he thought that, it was just dumb or whatever it was, but, it irritated me because, I don't like to be talked down to. I'm not a dog, so, but I never said anything. I didn't say anything to correct the situation. And that is an example of somebody that's being nice, but niceness doesn't mean that it's okay to be treated, without respect and such. So, if he would have pushed me, I would have eventually said something, and it would have been through anger and through the flesh. Because a person can only take so much without God in place. And I'm talking without God, in the situation. If we're only functioning through the flesh, then, you're going to lash out. But if we're walking through love, then love would command us to correct somebody through love and not through hate. And, it's a very fine line to walk in, to where you can easily walk in the flesh. But through love, if we can, spend that time with God and be in His presence, then everything that we would say, everything that we would do would be from love. And that's what Jesus did. He corrected the Pharisees through love. He didn't hate them at all. He loved everyone that he encountered, but he corrected their wrong notions. He corrected their injustices, and they took offense at that. So, it really takes walking through love, in order to, really have that genuine kindness. Now, you could see somebody at church who seems nice. When you're first visiting a church, you get these greeters. They have a smile on their face. They seem like really warm and nice people. But really, what are they like personally when you get to know them? Do they have some kind of discrimination? I mean, you could be drawn to like a church leader, a pastor, or something, and you want to get to know them, and you put on this, you put them under an expectation of them to behave in the way of the way that you think they should. And so when they, fall short of that, then you get offended and, you become bitter toward that. So you could see somebody at church that seems like really nice, but when you want to get to know them, they don't have that same ambition like you do. They don't have that same desire. So, you could see somebody on the surface as a godly person, but really, once you get to know them, you're going to see their own flaws in their lives. So being nice alone, apart from God, is not tested by hardship. Like I said, it is a label. And that label will fall off through hardship, like I said. So in closing, being kind is love. And that can only happen in God's presence. Kindness is giving to the needy. That is where, that definition comes into place. The Greek definition. You know, it's not, you know, being that person that James was talking about, where, he's differentiating faith and deeds. I mean, a person can have faith on the surface, but, I mean, you could say to somebody, God's going to take care of you and stuff like that. Well, you can easily say that, but it's not costing you a thing. If you have the means to help somebody and you don't do it, then really are you operating in that faith? Because what if God is challenging you? Let's say you have $1,500 in the bank and you can encounter somebody that is in need, that needs that exact amount. Would you give it to them, or would you say, well, I'm really not feeling called to give them that amount? Well, there's your chance to walk in faith. You see a need, and, God will bless you for it. He said, given it will be given to you. Don't you think God will repay you back for what you have done, for the kindness that you have showed? Or you encounter somebody that, doesn't have blankets and they have no way to keep warm, and you have the means to help them, but you don't want to give your blankets up because maybe they are a gift from somebody, or maybe they've been in your family for years. Whatever it may be, God wants to test that, and it's not about being nice, it's about really being kind, you know. So kindness does cost. Kindness has been tested under the fires of affliction, to where maybe the person formerly had problems in their flesh of loving somebody, but God has brought them through so much to where, they really do love now, because, the hardships have led them into God's presence and for them to become a replica of Him. So, like I said, kind is giving to the needy. That's showing the true act of faith. And really, on the opposite end, being nice is only by words. So I'm going to end it here. I really hope that I have differentiated the two words for you, and I pray that you can be able to apply it to your walk. That, if somebody is calling you nice, then really, are they seeing, you know, the kindness that you're walking in? Or if somebody is labeling you nice, but they have walked over your boundaries, maybe they treated you wrong, or whatever it is. Maybe God wants to raise you up to correct any wrong that was done to you. So I just wanted to give you some food for thought in this video, and try to show you that, it's not about being nice. We're not commanded to be nice. We're commanded to be kind. So, I'm not telling people that it's okay to choose somebody out, or, give anybody an excuse to walk in hate and to walk in the flesh. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm saying that we need to be kind and not nice. So, thanks for taking the time to watch, and stay tuned.